And the show, Tyrese Halliburton, his heroics in Indiana, down 3 in the final seconds. He converted a 4-point play, and the Pacers beat the Bucks 115-114. We actually broke down this play. It was very much like an offensive play in the NFL. That foul shot wins it. It was a thrilling finish in Indy. In Detroit, check out Cade Cunningham. This alley-oop was one of his 10 assists. He added 27 points. Pistons blew out the Wizards 123-103. Detroit is 13-5 since the start of February. Only the Celtics and Cavaliers have been better in the East. And speaking of Cleveland, they've been better than anybody. Last night, they became the 6th team ever to have multiple 15-game winning streaks in a season. They came back from down 18 to beat the Nets 109-104. Cavs now 55-10. Best record in the league. They are on pace for 69 wins. But despite having the best record in the league, the Cavs are only the 3rd favorite to win the championship, behind the defending champion Celtics and the West leading Thunder. Speaking of the Celtics and Thunder, they go head-to-head tonight in what could easily be a preview of the NBA Finals, and you will see the action 7:30 Eastern right here on ESPN. And so we've got McNutt and Windy here to break it all down, both of them getting up early on the West Coast. Guys, we can't thank you enough for being willing to do that. So let's get right to it. McNutt, I'll start with you. Give me one thing you were watching for tonight, the one most important factor tonight, Thunder Celtics.
Greeny, I think for me, it's going to be how the Celtics are going to guard SGA. In some of the bigger games we've seen, and now granted, SGA's been on a roll as of lately. He's averaging like 37 points over his last 8 games or so on crazy splits. But I kind of still think back to the in-season tournament finale and what the Bucks were able to do in terms of making him uncomfortable. He's the engine for this group, and with Jalen Williams navigating an injury, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. And obviously, Boston is one of the defensive teams that is in the same class of the Oklahoma City Thunder, so that's what I'm watching.
Feels like one of the games of the year in the entire NBA season. Wendy, you're getting ready for it. Open up the notebook. What does everybody need to know?
Yeah, so there are a couple of key things here. Jalen Williams is being out with the hip injury. That really limits what the Thunder can do offensively. When we get to the playoffs, what we're going to see teams try to force the ball out of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's hands because he is an automatic 30-point-per-game scorer. He gets to the line. He's incredibly efficient. He never sweats. He is cool under pressure. He does so many things well. But when they take away him, their offense is really not that dynamic. They don't get to the line. They don't shoot the three well. And they've only got one other real reliable scorer, and that's Jalen Williams. So I don't know if they'll start the game this way, Greeny, but I expect at some point the Celtics are just going to double-team Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and say somebody else from the Thunder is going to have to beat us. And there's very likely, as Monica alluded to, that is what's going to determine how this game goes.
There are injury updates on the Celtics as well. At least I've been following that a little bit. Wendy, what do we know about who is and isn't playing tonight?
Yeah, probably the most interesting thing here is Kristaps Porzingis. He's been listed as questionable. He has been out for weeks with what the team has called a viral syndrome. Well, Porzingis said on social media this week the doctors haven't necessarily been able to completely identify what this is, which is obviously concerning. They have upgraded him before and then downgraded him. So I think it'll depend on how he feels. He's warmed up before games and then been pulled from the lineup. Jason Tatum is also questionable, but I would expect him to play tonight.
Okay, Monica, we talk about games like this sometimes as a statement game in the midst of a long regular season. Which of these teams needs to make a statement?
Greeny, I don't think anybody needs to make a statement. We know who these teams are, especially in the case of OKC. J-Dub is a huge part of what they do if he's out. Now, having said that, other side of that coin is I do think OKC has an opportunity to make said statement because they are missing their second guy. The one thing about OKC that I think you miss if you don't have a chance to see them in person is how hard they play for the duration of the game on both sides of the basketball. And again, Celtics are one of those teams that is in that same class, but we have seen as of late the Celtics maybe lose focus a little bit, surrender leads, wonder if the defending champs are bored. That is not the case with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And so if they can figure out a way to be the hardest working team on the floor, the most efficient team on the floor, they're leading the league in blocks since the All-Star break at nearly 7 at 6.8, then I think this would be a statement because it would either be a monster game from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or that supporting cast has a near perfect game tonight.
You see what OKC did to the Celtics the first time they met this season. It was the lowest scoring game, the worst shooting game, the lowest everything game for the Celtics of the year. So statement is a relative term, but we'll see. So, Monica, if I told you we're going to see, everyone's calling this a preview of the finals. If I told you we're going to see one of these teams in the finals but not both, which one do you trust?
I actually trust OKC, and I've not done Oklahoma in June, so I'm curious to see what that's like. But I think when you look at the path to get there, right? OKC has by far and away been the best team in the West, most consistent, and we are not sure, nobody's sure of who that second team is going to be in the Western Conference Finals. Cleveland, to me, is a legitimate threat to the Boston Celtics. Now, the Boston may come out of it, but I think that is going to be a heavyweight fight in the East for sure.
Windman, what is your finals pick right now?
This is it. It's not overwhelming. I'm not slamming my fist down on the table saying this is going to be it because the competitive in both conferences. I do believe there's 5 or 6 teams that could get to the finals here. But the Thunder, to me, have been overwhelmingly dominant throughout the season. They have a couple of flaws with their roster, and they haven't done it before. So the other teams in the West do not fear them. In the East, the Celtics last year didn't have to break a sweat going through the East. They were able to get away with playing B-, C+ basketball and cruising. If they play that way again, they won't get to the finals. But when they play their A game, I don't know if they can be beaten 4 out of 7. So I do think this could be a finals preview. And I think Oklahoma City playing well here, even if they don't win the game, is going to be important. Because the one thing that Boston does is when they can crush you, they can break your spirit a little bit. So that is going to be an interesting challenge for the youngest team in the NBA and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
It's a really good doubleheader we have tonight. It starts with that game. Thunder and Cavs, 7:30 Eastern time.
Conference matchup in Boston. The 2-seed Celtics in the East. The 1-seed Thunder come a-calling at the Garden. Boston's won 5 straight on this homestand. They step up a weight class after they beat the Jazz the last time out, though. Thunder are one of the best teams in basketball on the road. I mean, listen, OKC's won 8 of 10. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 40 or more in 3 of his last 4. So, David, between these two teams, who do you think is better equipped to make a run to the NBA Finals?
Well, I was already going to say the Celtics, but now that you put Donovan Mitchell on the waiver wire, they definitely have great chances to make it to the finals. I think actually the big thing here is the level of competition that these two teams have to face. OKC has real 3 people that they can really have to struggle against in that West to get to that finals. The Lakers, the Nuggets, and now the Warriors are real actual contenders to OKC. The Celtics really just have the Cavs to worry about. And, you know, they've split the season series with that Cavs team. The Celtics have been there. They already have Tatum, who is a top 5 MVP candidate. They just need to get healthy. They need to get Porzingis back. Drew Holiday is working his way back into that lineup after being gone for a few days. Celtics are healthy. I think still have the best chance to make it to the finals.
They're working on an illness with Kristaps Porzingis. He called it a viral illness. Doctors trying to get a better handle on it, but both teams are currently the favorites to win their respective conference. David Dennis Jr., we appreciate it. You can see SGA and the Thunder take on Jason Tatum and the